Alright, today I'm going to be disassembling my Ruger 1022. This is the USA Shooting Team edition with a thick barrel on it. To get the stock off of it, we're just going to take out this one screw right here. Now for mine to get it through the stock, I've got to hold the safety kind of 50-50 on there, where it's half on each side. There we go. Just get that off. Now I can wipe that down if I need to. Alright, now to take the barrel off, I've got 2 Allen screws right there. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and take these Allen screws off of here. Right, so once you get those Allen screws off there, the barrel just slides right out. Okay, and that just hooks into there and sucks it right up into there. Okay, you've got a few pins, so to take out the trigger assembly together, we're just going to go ahead and push these 2 pins through there. So I've got these 2 pins started. I'm just going to pull 1 and 2 out of there. Okay, now trigger assembly comes right out of there. Okay, set that off to the side for now. Okay, now if you want to take all of this out, it's pretty easy to take out. It is a little trickier to put back in, so I'll go ahead and show you how to take it out. We're going to have to take this pin out right here, so let me do that real quick. Alright, so I'll punch that pin through side there. Okay, what that pin does when it sits inside there, it stops this from traveling all the way back. So now we're going to go ahead and pull it all the way back. Go. Okay, so we'll drop that out of there, and then we can pull it out. So there's that completely disassembled. Now to get it put back in, it's a little tricky. So we've got to have this spring sit right inside there. But to get this back in, those notches need to line up with that. So best way I've found to do this is to just go ahead and set this in there. Alright, so now what I do is I pull this back as far as I can with my hand. Okay, now just take me a little dowel rod, put it in through here, just to kind of push it where it can lock in there. So I found if I just hold it by this, it kind of tilts it in the back there so it doesn't line up straight. So I just use this rod here on the far side to hold it so that'll line up. So now we've got it lined up. Go ahead and put my pin back in there. There we go. Make sure it's nice and set in there. Okay, so we've got that put back in. Now for the trigger assembly. Now, there are just a few pins to take out the trigger assembly, but the main thing to look out for is the springs on this thing when you do start taking them apart, so they don't go flying on your floor and you lose them. So I'm going to go ahead and take the safety off. Then I'm going to pull the trigger, but while I'm pulling the trigger, I'm going to hold this down right here. There's a spring right underneath there. Just comes straight out of there. I'll flip that back out of the way. Okay, now I'm just going to push those through. So as I push that through, this spring came out of here. So that spring just gets put right back underneath that pin there. So go ahead and pull that pin out. One. Okay, now go ahead and go to the next spring. Okay, now we'll go ahead and just drop this part out of here. Okay. Now pay attention to this, that the spring does have this little part on there, and that needs to go down just like that on there when you put it all back together. All these parts do come apart, so if you want to clean all that, be sure you remember how to put all that back together. Alright, now as you take this one out, this pin here, hold that little plunger down in the front. Okay, we'll drop that pin out, pull that guy out, pull this one out, and I'm still holding this because there's a spring inside there. Okay, just like that. Now if you want to go ahead and take the trigger itself out, go ahead and do that. See that little spring there went on the back of the trigger. Now this part here, got spring inside there. It sits like that down inside there. Okay, so be sure that's how it'll come out when you take it all the way out. Alright, we'll just start putting this back together in reverse order. So this does take some doing sometimes to get all these pins lined back up inside there. Okay, so I'll put that spring back up inside there, hold that there. I'm going to put my trigger back in there. Once you get one hole lined up, you can go ahead and start working your pin in there. That way it'll hold some of your stuff in place. And you can kind of niggle it inside there as you need to. Here we go. So I'll just finish pushing that pin in there. So we've got our trigger back in there. We're going to go ahead and put the plunger back in there. Now I'm going to get this in there, and I've got to get it lined up on the inside of that there. So I'll go ahead and put that there. Make sure it's on the inside of that. What I'm going to do is get this lined up. Okay, once I got that hole lined up, I'm going to go ahead and start my pin so I can let go of that so it'll hold it in place for me. Okay, now I'll go ahead and take this and line it up inside there. Now, to do this, you've got some play in there to line it up. Alright, once we get the pin pushed in there, it's in there nice and stable. So now, to put this back in there, a couple things we need to remember is, one, we need to pull this out of the way because this is too wide. You can't slide it down with that in the way. So I'll move that out of the way. Hold all of this together. Okay, we've got our bent end down. We'll go ahead and start sliding it in there. So we've got it lined up. go. So we've got it back in there. You need to make sure that that spring is set down inside there. There's a little notch right there. Make sure it's down inside that notch. Now we can go ahead and press that guy back down. You can get this one here. Start working that pin back in. Okay. Now remember, we've got to push this little spring. Got to push that spring down in there. The other side of that pin as you pull it in there. Make sure it lays nice and flat. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and pull the trigger. Pull this forward. I'll take my spring in there because you got to make sure it seats down inside that hole right there. There we go. Okay, we've got to get it down on the other side of this. There we go, all the way down inside there. Now, push it back down. Make sure it releases. Put my safety back on so nothing will pop out. And that's how you take apart and put the trigger assembly back together. We'll go ahead and put the trigger assembly back in there now. Make sure that guy's down there. All right. Now we can go ahead and put the barrel back together. Very simple, just place the barrel there. All right, so now we'll put the barrel, just go ahead and screw it back in there. Set it up. All right, now we'll make sure that seats all the way down there and then just start tightening it up. All right, now that we've got it all cleaned, put back together, last thing to do is just to reattach it to the stock. So I'll start with the back end here. Go into the stock there. Just slides right inside there. Go ahead and tighten up this screw here. Just make sure it's just snug. Be careful not to strip out the screw. Thanks for watching. Be sure to support our channel by clicking on the link below. Have an Amazon link below. We'd really appreciate that. And check out our other videos. Thanks for watching.